What's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up?
We are back at it for the Eat and Restored podcast, and I have missed them, but we had to go celebrate ourselves, didn't we?
We did. We had to pull away to get restored ourselves.
What'd you enjoy about our trip to Mexico?
Just having you by myself. Oh my gosh, it was so many things outside of that, but that alone could be a podcast in itself.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah.
just had it was a great trip.
It was a great trip, and I enjoyed, like you said, just being with you. No agenda, just spending time with each other, and it was needed. So thank you guys for allowing us to get away and celebrate 32 years of marriage. Our birthdays, it was amazing. But tonight, we're going to be talking about big bed versus little bed.
Big bed.
Big bed, little bed, big bed. What is that all about? I'm glad you asked that question, because tonight we want to get into the debate. Does intimacy improve when you're in a big bed, or does it improve when you're in a smaller bed? What do y'all think? We're going to get ready to talk about that, but baby, for the listening purposes tonight, what do you want to tell them?
This podcast is for those that are seriously dating, that are married, and they're for educational purposes only.
So get ready, buckle up, lock in, invite some friends, some seriously dating friends, some married couple friends, because we're getting ready to go to Eat and Restored podcast so we can help you with the intimacy in your marriage. Is your bed too big? I mean, seriously, I never really gave much thought to that until the other day. I was reading this article by Matthew McConaughey, the actor that Glorilla mentioned in one of her rap songs. Y'all know who Matthew McConaughey is. He said, getting a smaller bed saved his marriage. And I'm like, what is this about? I had to dig into it. And so what he was saying was he had a king bed.
Okay.
And he found that the king bed was so large, it provided enough space for sleep. But when it came to intimacy, over time, their intimacy began to decrease until he downsized and got a queen bed. And he says the intimacy improved because they were forced to be closer. So
I can see that.
space is good for sleep, but too much space can kill your intimacy. Can you see that?
I definitely can. I think early on, like when you're furnishing a bedroom, you're getting the bed that fits the space, not necessarily the bed that's needed for you and your spouse. So that is something to ponder.
I need y'all to type this in the chat. Stay close. Somebody type in the chat. Stay close, not distant. Stay close, not distant. Now, distance is not just physical, it's emotional. I know there's been some times when we were, early on in our marriage, when we got mad at each other, and that big bed provided the space for us to remain distant. We might even put a pillow in between us. But what we discovered over time is that physical and emotional distance is something that we need to be intentional about thinking through, right?
Right.
And to be in full transparency, we have what size bed?
A king size.
We've got a king size bed. Now, that thing has kind of worked. It's worked in different ways over the years. Let's start out early in the marriage. Early in the marriage, when we had small children, toddlers, the king size bed was wonderful because the kids would come and jump in the bed and play in the bed.
Well, no, let's back up. Early on in the marriage, we didn't have a king size bed.
When did we get a king size
We
bed?
got a king size bed when we moved into our last house. And so at that time, the kids were just a little bigger.
Jaden was 3 or 4.
Yeah. But, during the times, regardless, that queen size bed, still the kids sometimes would stockpile in the bed with us.
So I forgot what I was going to say because you corrected me. So you said we had a queen size bed. So what point did you want to make about the queen size bed?
Oh, just saying, course correcting that regardless of the size of bed, you have to be conscious of your children not taking up that extra space in the bed.
As we have counseled people over the years, one of the biggest problems in marriage is when people allow their kids to camp out in their bedroom. And oftentimes that's because they have a big bed. That was the point I was trying to make, is that sometimes those big beds are magnets for big kids. Big beds, big kids. And they should be sleeping in their own room, but they have found your bed to be their second lodging place. Another pro of a big bed is that as you get older, sometimes spouses have habits or have biological realities that necessitate space being a buffer, such as you say, I talk in my sleep sometimes, and and what do I say in my sleep? Just any kind of everything.
Gibberish.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, I feel somebody sweating next to me sometimes, and my wife is going through her private summers. She's having going through the changes. She has those what's called as hot flashes, and she is burning up. You said it feels like dogs are chasing you.
Oh yeah, it feels like I'm getting chased by some dogs. You know, my heart rate gets up. Yeah, a number of times.
So kids piling up in the bed, blocking intimacy. Sometimes it's easier to drift emotionally and physically when you're in a big bed, especially when you have a disagreement. It robs you of natural cuddling if the bed is too big, because she's over there and I'm over here. She's in East Memphis, I'm in West Memphis. And so when we are intentional, though, my wife, she likes to do this. She's like, babe, can I come and lay on you? I was like, sure, come and lay on me. And then when it's time to go to sleep, we say what?
All right, no, you say it.
What'd I say?
Get in your sleeping position. I'm in my sleeping position.
My favorite sleeping position is when we're spooning. And you're laying on your right side, and I got my arm around you, and we're in the middle of our bed, and we're both connected. I love when we're both connected. And for us, the big bed hasn't been a huge challenge because we use it to our advantage.
Yeah.
We use it to our advantage when she's having hot flashes or when I'm talking crazy in my sleep after eating too many snacks. And then we use it to our advantage when we want to cuddle. We come to the middle and we meet up in the middle. So it works for us. But for some couples, you might need to be a little bit more intentional and say, you know what? This big bed is messing up our feng shui. It's messing up our connection. We want distance, but we want intimacy more than we want distance. So, with that being said, we want to talk a little bit about intimacy and touch.
Okay.
Why is touch so important in marriage?
Well, touch, one is it's a love language in itself. And we as humans, we need to have touch, but more importantly, we need to have touch with our spouses on a daily basis, because it helps create that hormone of togetherness.
The oxytocin, the cuddling hormone.
Yes.
I never will forget this story about this woman gave birth to a stillborn, and the baby was blue, born, the baby was not breathing. And the doctors were going to give the mother a little time with the baby before they took the baby to the morgue. So the mother takes the baby, opens up her gown, puts the baby on her chest, and begins to cry and begins to pray, begins to cry and pray. And something miraculous happened. The touch from the mother brought life back to the baby. And so when married couples touch, it brings life back to the marriage. Can you see that?
I definitely can see that. And I can see where it would revitalize life. As you're saying, the small little touches, like even when you're separated just a little bit, your feet touching or a limb thrown over another
You like my
leg.
cold feet sometimes, don't you?
I do, because sometimes I'm hot-natured and having a hot flash, and then sometimes I don't.
Isn't that crazy? No, it's really crazy because sometimes, y'all, my wife, she's having her hot flash. She's like, "Oh, your feet are cold. Put them on me." And then other times I get in and my feet are cold. I'm trying to warm them. Say, "Oh, you're cold. Get away from me." So it just depends on the day.
It just depends. It really just depends. Yeah.
But that touch is so important. And I think that in order for couples to consistently bond, you've got to make sure that there's not a lot of distance between you, because that skin to skin touch is something that creates a bonding chemical in your brains that makes y'all feel tighter. So can you imagine a married couple that never touches, that never hugs each other, that never cuddles? I was just watching something prior to us getting ready, and we were talking about how how important it is to bond and to cuddle. And women need about 40 minutes of foreplay before they're even turned on. And so foreplay is cuddling, foreplay is touching. And so that precedes, sex.
Right.
And so if you're not cuddling and touching, you never experience that bonding moment. So a big bed might lead to you never getting to the point where you cuddle.
I could see that. And when I was reading, doing some research, it was saying that 61% of couples say that cuddling helps improve your sleep. So when you're cuddled up next to your spouse, and your hearts, they sync, get in rhythm together, that kind of helps to lull you into sleep.
And the hugging also biologically, it's been proven to lower blood pressure and stress. And I can so see that. Because sometimes when I've had a bad day, I just need a hug. Have you hugged your husband today? Have you sent him on his way? Well, I'm making up a song. They need to learn it. They need to learn it because, doggone it, when I've come in and I've been beat up by the world, sometimes laying in the nape of your neck, laying on your breast, and you rubbing my head, it makes the whole world better. What about you when I hug you?
Oh yeah, it lowers my defenses. It helps relieve stress. It makes me feel seen.
Touch is therapy, not just romance. Touch is therapy, not just romance. And oh my God, I hear you screaming in my ear, Rhonda. Touch does not always have to lead to sex.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right.
Sometimes touch is just a therapeutic touch, like I need to know that I'm safe. I need to know that I'm loved. And so I think a lot of women avoid touch. Tell me if I'm wrong. Some women avoid touch because they think the expectation is that if I let him touch me, it's going to lead to something.
Absolutely. Depending on your spouse and how you and your spouse interact, there are times that, hey, a simple hug, if you hug your spouse, then they're thinking, oh yeah, it's great, go on right now. So that may lead a lot of spouses to think, well, I'm going to withhold my touch because I may not be in the right mind frame or space for anything else to take, for intimacy to take. But hugging and touching is a form of intimacy, but the sexual part of intimacy may take place.
What you think about sleeping naked?
Again, it depends. Sleeping skin to skin, just like you gave the example of the baby being revitalized next to the mom, that skin to skin, that bonding that takes place. But then there are sometimes for me that I like a little sheer layer of clothing in between. For whatever reason, that helps to cool me sometimes. It helps to cool my body temperature down as opposed to not having that buffer to cool myself down.
Does it make any difference what kind of material it is?
Of course, you need to have breathable material, some breathable cotton, something very
So not
thin.
the granny panties and the flannel pajamas?
Nobody said anything about flannel pajamas or the granny. I don't even know if they even still make granny
And I don't know
panties.
that you own a pair of flannel pajamas.
Right, because that's flammable.
For the most part, ladies and gentlemen, we sleep in our birthday suits because over the years we have come to find that comfortable for us, haven't we?
We have.
And it's easier for me when she's having hot flashes to throw the cover back on her side and I hold on to mine. But then there's other nights when she, she keeps it creative and she'll come in with the baby doll silk nightie. And I'm like, okay, you dressing it up? All right. A little peekaboo action going on. So that's good. But for the most part, we like skin to skin. 57% of naked sleepers report happier relationships. Can you see that? That's half the population.
Okay.
57% of naked sleepers report happier relationships. Sleeping nude helps regulate temperature, fertility, and body confidence. Isn't that something? So if there's some of you out there that are trying to get pregnant, trying to, help your sperm count to increase, sleeping naked actually bodes well for that. And so, and also it says something about building confidence. Why do you think sleeping naked would build confidence, body confidence?
Well, one, you know, depending on, what your confidence level is, sleeping nude can be an alternative to, when you're being intimate, sexually intimate, of running and jumping under the covers. So you still get the opportunity to feel all over your spouse's body without necessarily ogling your spouse's body. So it kind of helps a little bit on being able to boost that confidence.
And I can see boosting confidence by the fact that I'm not hiding behind my garments. I'm walking around naked. I'm letting my spouse ogle me, and getting comfortable in your own skin. It was God's intention anyway that we be naked and without shame. You remember going back to Garden of Eden when they disobeyed God's command not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they eat from it, and then they hear God in the garden the next day, and they hide. And God says, Adam, where are you? He says, we hid because we were naked. God says, who told you you were naked? You were naked, and they didn't even know it. They didn't even feel it until they disobeyed God. And I think somewhere in our history, because of disobedience, somewhere along the way, somebody told us nakedness was wrong. I don't know where we picked that up from, but if you look at little kids, they're naked, running around the house just smiling and having a good time. But at some point when they reach puberty, it's like, hey, go put some clothes on.
Oh, definitely. It's social norms. And I think here in America, we're more closed off than in some other, let's say, European countries that don't see being nude as an issue as we do.
We can go to Africa. There's a lot of African countries that have no problem with nudity, but it was the Westerners who came in, Western missionaries who came in and told them that nakedness was an evil. It's not the fact that nakedness is an evil, it's who you get naked with.
That part, yeah.
Because when you're naked with your spouse, the bed is undefiled. I want you to type in the chat, nothing between us but love. I got nothing but love for you, baby. There's nothing between us but love. I don't want no clothes. I don't want no pajamas. I don't want no drawers. I just want to hold my baby next to me, as Isley brothers would say, in between the sheets. Ooh. So we want to talk a little bit about the biblical perspective for all of this big bed, little bed conversation. So I want to go, baby, to Hebrews 13:4, and it says here, marriage, honorable marriage, the bed is undefiled. The bed is a sacred space. It needs to be protected, watch this, from kids, phones, and emotional distance. The bed is undefiled. We often think about when you hear that the bed is undefiled, what immediately comes to your mind?
Well, for me, when I hear that the bed is undefiled, is what you and your husband decide to do in your bedroom. As long as it's godly and you guys agree upon it, then that's your decision.
But did you ever think about kids being in the bedroom defiling your bed?
No, I didn't. I think when we had a child in our bed, it was more, for me, convenience.
But over time, if that convenience is not broken, those babies can become blockers.
Actually, when you say that, it still, for some women, could be a convenience to conveniently not be next to their spouse.
Right, conveniently not giving up the goodies because the baby's in the bed.
And that goes either way. That could be either for either spouse.
It could be.
Yeah.
Emotional distance can also defile your bed. When you go to bed angry, the Bible says, do not let the sun go down on your anger. And sometimes we bring our grudges and our offenses to the bedroom. We defile that bed. When we bring business discussions into the bedroom, you can defile your bed because your bed is meant for recreation and procreation.
Okay.
Right? So I think we need to protect that bedroom space. I need y'all to type this in the chat. Don't let the sacred space of your bed get defiled by distraction. Don't let the sacred space of your bed get defiled by your distractions. What do you think that means for you?
Don't let the sacred space
of your bed get defiled by distraction.
Well, what we're talking about, all these distractions that can take place in the bed and in the bedroom, in the bed, phones, children, work conversation, those things could take away from the intimacy that you and your spouse could be missing out on because you have these other things that are taking away from that sacred space.
I don't think y'all's beds are too small. I think your mind sometimes gets too small. I think we shrink our beds because we shrink what's possible in the bed. We come with these preconceived notions as to what is pleasing to God and what's not pleasing to God. And we're going to touch on that in our next episode, but I want to touch on it in this episode. How do we enlarge that square footage of our bed? Not just by depth, but by connection. What are some ways you think we can enlarge our bed, our perspectives about our bedroom?
Well, one of the things that I find very sexy that helps enlarge and kind of decrease will be prayer. You know, when we pray together, when we're on one accord, that helps us to stay connected on a spiritual level. Then another thing is role playing. When we come in with new ideas, or we decide to, when we're in that beauty supply store and we see that wig that is not like anything that we would normally wear our hair, and we're like, maybe I can switch characters for a night. And you purchase the wig and you bring it home and you don't feel too silly putting it on. That's a whole nother story. But just having
How
fun.
did you feel when we role played? Did you feel silly?
Initially I did.
And then what happened?
And then I didn't. And when I saw that, the more I became comfortable and I saw that you enjoyed it, but more importantly, I enjoyed it, then I became comfortable with it.
Yeah. Our bedrooms should be our playrooms. And we should make sure that as much as possible that we limit those distractions. The older our kids get, they need to understand that when the doors close and mom and daddy have a little sign on the door, don't come in this door.
What if they can't read?
When you see this little stuffed animal hanging off the doorknob, mom and daddy are having a meeting, so don't come and knock on the door. All right? And then, when our kids got older, what did they say? We knew when y'all was doing it because y'all always shut both doors. So we just need those signals, right? A smaller bed may bring your bodies closer, but enlarging intimacy brings your hearts closer. Does that make sense? You got to enlarge your intimacy, enlarge what it is that you all do, to be intentional about enlarging opportunities for you to do more in your bed. Your bed should be bigger because your mind is bigger. It's not so much about the circumference of your mattress, but by the landscape of your imagination.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because some couples may be thinking, well, physically, there is no way that as grown as we are, that we're going to sleep in a full-size bed.
Right.
One that does not always bold to be the most comfortable. But what you're saying is that making sure that you're enlarging what you and your spouse agree upon and do in the bedroom.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Y'all put this in the chat. Say this with us. More heart, less distance. More heart, less distance. We want you to get closer than you've ever been before. Eden Restored for us is about getting you back to a place where intimacy is the cover for your bed. Intimacy is you being close together and not allowing distractions or distance to keep you apart. So some practical takeaways we want to give y'all tonight. Try 5 minutes of cuddling before you sleep, right? Sometimes we just lay in the bed and we talk, or we lay in the bed and we watch TV, we watch our favorite shows, and we just cuddle each other. And that's been so important for me, babe, over the years. Around 9 p.m. or so, I'm like, all right, babe, come on in here before I get too sleepy, before my sleep medicine kicks in, and let's cuddle for a little while. What's some other things they can do?
some other things is to make sure that the kids and the phones are not, in the bedroom. I know there's sometimes it's kind of difficult to not per se have your phone in the bedroom, but put it on sleep mode. Cut it off. Cut the light down on it so that there aren't those phone distractions.
And go ahead and try the smaller bed experiment. If you've been in a king bed all these years, why not downgrade to a queen bed? People downgrade houses all the time, right? After the kids move out, they're like, you know what? I think we need to downsize. We don't need all this house. Let's get us a condo. Why not start in your bedroom? Try a smaller bed. Now I gotta keep it 100 with y'all. We bigger than we was when we first got married. we tried to sleep on the couch one day. We tried to
just cuddle.
Come over and lay beside me. Rhonda's hanging halfway off the couch. I can't scoot over anymore. And so I'm like, how about this? You lay at that end, and I lay at this end, and I'm going to rub your feet while we watch TV.
That's a great idea. Let's do that. Yeah.
And then I love what you said about praying together nightly. It's been proven that couples who pray together experience more intimacy than couples who don't. Yeah. You're bearing your soul to one another. You talk about being naked. A lot of people can take off their clothes and be naked, but not a lot of people can be emotionally naked. And prayer, to me, it involves being emotionally naked. I got to share my anxious thoughts. I got to share my fears. I got to share my vulnerabilities with my wife, or vice versa. Right. And there's just something powerful when we pray together. I tell you, one of the most important times for me is on Sunday mornings when you initiate prayer in the green room and you start praying over me. There's this confidence that begins to swell in my heart when my wife is praying for me. Do you ever feel a quickening in your spirit when we pray together at night or in the mornings?
It's especially morning and night. Like when you take the lead to pray for us in the morning, it just sets the tone for the rest of the day. And then at the end of the day, it's almost like it's that period at the end of the day and that extra layer of protection, not just having the four walls, but where you have just ushered God into the house to just take control and keep me safe.
Yes. And I know it sounds confusing to some people to say, okay, y'all talking about having sex and intimacy, and then you're talking about bringing God into the bedroom. God is ever present. He's all over the place. And to me, two people who are filled with the Holy Spirit, who have Christ in the center of their hearts, those folk really know how to make love. Our love making, I think, was only enhanced by our relationship with Christ, because we have the totality of love. There's erotic love, there is fraternal love, there is agape love, the phileo love, eros love, agape love. I'm missing one other, but all of those loves are anchored on the foundation of agape love. That agape love is sacrificial. Right. It's where you're willing to sacrificial for the other. So if we had to close all of this out, what do you think our synopsis is, babe, about big bed versus little bed?
For me, I think the synopsis is that you need to, regardless of the size of your bed, that you need to reclaim it for your marriage. That you have to reclaim the space that could have been moving in between you and your spouse for whatever season that you're in. You've got to reclaim that space and make love and love on each other, both mentally and physically.
Yeah. Take your bed back, baby.
Take it back.
I remember telling one of the young couples we were counseling, they were letting their little daughter come and sleep with them. And I'm like, hey, she's big enough to go sleep in her own bed. And so now they're like, Pastor, we got her in her own bed. I said, is it better? Oh, yeah. So once you remove those distractions, reclaim your bedroom, intimacy will improve. Yeah. So y'all get back to loving each other. Get back to cuddling each other. Get back to loving each other. I want y'all to type this in the comments. Our bed is sacred. Our bed is sacred. Our love is alive. Our bed is sacred and our love is alive. That is our podcast for tonight. And I hope that you all figured out. You know, it's different strokes for different folks. No pun intended. Different strokes for different folks, and you have to decide what size your bed is going to be. But the thing that we're trying to get you to do is to enlarge your perspective about your bed, to enlarge your intimacy in your bed, and take back the love that God meant for you. Listen, if this episode blessed you, I need you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe and share.
Yes,
share it with some seriously dating couples and some married couples.
Absolutely.
So, babe, tell them about the Boo Bash that's coming up.
Yes, we have the Boo Bash on, am I saying it right? Boo Bash on October the 26th at Soul Cafe. We want you and your spouse to come dressed as your favorite movie couple or TV couple. And you can get tickets on Eventbrite.
This is going to be so much fun. Do you hear me? I haven't been able to dress up for Halloween since I was a kid, when I put on that little plastic sweaty Casper the Ghost mask and my face was sweating, and I had a sheet from my grandmama's closet as my costume. But on 26, we're going to be able to dress up as a sexy movie couple or sexy TV couple or whoever your favorite couple is, and the couple that gets that has the best costume wins a prize. We're going to have prizes, we're going to have games, we're going to have a discussion, watch this, on how you can get some tricks and treats into your bedroom. We don't play about that bedroom. We're going to help you expand. We're going to get you a bigger bed, a bigger perspective about what can happen in that bedroom. So Rhonda and I are going to teach y'all some tricks and some treats. All right? So what do they need to do to go be a part of this?
All you need to do is go to Eventbrite and click on the link for our Sweet Talk Edition Boo Bash.
And how much is it?
$25 per couple.
$25 per couple. Where can you go in Memphis or anywhere and have that kind of fun just for $25 per couple? Come on, guys. We're going to have a wonderful time. Go tell your friends, your seriously dating friends, your married couple friends, and let's come out on the 26th and have a good time. Listen, if you also need some extra help with your relationship, consider being a part of Eden Circle, where we have mentoring and coaching from us, certified sexologists, and you also get a community of the couples that you can bond with and fellowship with. We need each other in order to make our marriages be what they're supposed to be. Listen, we love you guys. Listen, next week we're going to be talking about this: 5 myths that Christians believe around sex that are robbing you from the fun that you're supposed to have in your bedroom. 5 myths that Christian couples deal with that block the intimacy and the fun that God meant for you to have in your sex life. We're going to talk about that next Friday. All right. We appreciate y'all being on. Please share this podcast, and we appreciate you so much and can't wait to see you next time.
See you next time.